I get it. We hear about toxins all the time in our food, in our air, in our homes, and sometimes it feels like everything is toxic. So why even try? But here's the thing, that mindset is keeping us stuck. Just because we can't avoid everything doesn't mean we should avoid nothing. Because when we know where the biggest exposures are, especially the ones targeting us, Black women, we can start making changes that matter. Not perfect, just better. And better, that's worth everything. Before we even take our first breath, the toxins are already there. And the products our mothers used, in the hospitals where we're born, the formula, the wipes, the lotions. And for Black girls, that exposure starts earlier. It's more intense and it lasts longer. This isn't just about clean beauty anymore, it's about survival. We all like to think that we start with a clean slate when we're born, a fresh start, a blank page. But for so many of us, especially Black women and Black babies, we're not born at zero. In fact, we're born already carrying a toxic load that's passed down from our mothers. Through the placenta and the umbilical cord, babies are exposed to hundreds of industrial chemicals before they even take their first breath. A study by the Environmental Working Group found an average of 200 plus synthetic chemicals in the umbilical cords of babies born in the US. This includes pesticides, flame retardants, heavy metals, and ingredients from personal care products. We are literally born preloaded. And if our mothers use conventional products like lotion with fragrance, hair relaxers, perfumes, or aluminum deodorant, those ingredients don't just go away. They're actually stored in our fat cells. They become a part of us. Then when we're born, and instead of detoxing from the world, we're immersed in more chemicals hours upon our arrival. Take a look at what's in a typical baby's first day of life. First, we have baby wipes, which have phenoxyethanol, parabens, and even PEGs. Then we have lotion, which has synthetic fragrance, petroleum, and phthalates. Baby wash, which have SLSs and parabens. Diaper cream, which has talc, mineral oil, and parabens. Then we have hospital-issued formula, which often come in BPA-lined bottles. And don't even get me started on the swaddle, the cribs, and the mattress. Those often have flame retardant and off-gassing VOCs. All of this is marketed as gentle, as safe. But what's gentle about putting endocrine disruptors on skin that's 10 times more absorbent than adults? And you'll hear people say that, well, the dose is small, so it doesn't really matter. But what science is actually showing now is that low dose, long-term exposure, especially during critical windows of development, can have huge consequences, especially like they are with daily care products. So a little fragrance in lotion, a little preservative in the wipes, a little talc in the diaper cream. None of these are safe when they're used together multiple times a day on a baby who can't detox like an adult. And those things that they're sleeping on, like the blankets and the cribs and the mattress that we talked about a few minutes ago, that contain the flame retardants and the VOCs, well, all of those chemicals are actually linked to asthma, hormone disruption, and even cancer. The sad truth is that our babies are being exposed to more synthetic chemicals in their first year of life than our great grandmothers encountered in a lifetime because their products were simpler, had less of this mess in it. Now layer this with race, and studies have shown that Black infants, even at birth, have higher level of phthalates in their bodies than white babies. Why? Because their mothers were more likely to be using products marketed to them that were full of these chemicals. We're talking heavily fragranced body care, hair relaxers, and petroleum-based products. So what does this all tell us? Is that we are not all starting at the same line. And it's not just about race. It's about marketing, it's about access, and about the long history of Black women being underserved, overlooked, and overexposed. So before we even crawl, we're already carrying the weight of generations of exposure. This is how the timeline begins. So now we're toddlers, crawling, walking, exploring the world, and very quickly, especially for Black girls, the message begins saying you need to look a certain way, your hair should be done, your skin should smell sweet, and that message, it doesn't just come from the outside world. It's handed to us. It's passed down from our moms, from our aunties, our older sisters, and from the packaging on the shelf. So let's start with the hair, because for Black girls, hair care is healthcare. And the hair stuff starts young, sometimes even before we turn 2 or 3. A lot of us remember, and I know I sure do, because it was a regular ritual for us weekly, sitting on the floor between my mother's legs while she parted, greased, and styled my hair for the week. And what was she using? All of our all-time favorites, y'all. Pink Lotion, Blue Magic, and for some of us, Just For Me Relaxer, Tangling Sprays, and Petroleum Jelly. These products and these were marketed to us specifically to help care for our hair. Were packed with ingredients that are now linked to hormone disruption, respiratory issues, and even early puberty. And we didn't just use them once, we used them every single week, sometimes even every day. A 2012 study found that 50% of Black girls under the age of 12 use chemical straighteners. That is half of all Black girls. And we use this stuff at the same time that our endocrine systems were still developing. We were applying phthalates, parabens, formaldehyde, and mineral oils directly into our scalp, one of the most absorbent parts of our body. And I've talked in detail about this on some of the videos in my channel, and I'll link them in the description where I go into even more detail about what synthetic hair and what some products can do to us. So I'll get off that train station here. But I just want you to know, it wasn't just about hair. It was our bubble baths, our baby powder, lotions labeled Sparkleberry or like Candy Cotton Dream. Our girlhoods were wrapped in glittery pink packaging. But underneath all that glimmer and shimmer was like a chemical storm. Then our puberty hits, and for Black girls, it often comes early. One study published in the Environmental Health Perspectives found that Black girls are significantly more likely to begin puberty before the age of 8, y'all, often years before their peers. The researchers found that childhood exposure to hair care products containing endocrine disrupting chemicals like phthalates and parabens was a key factor in that. And please don't think that early puberty is not a big deal. It's not harmless. It's linked to higher rates of anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, sexualization at a young age, reproductive issues later in life, and an increase of breast cancer. And here's where it gets even more layered, because when puberty comes early, so does your period. Many Black girls get their period before the age of 9 or 10. And when that happens, what are we given? A pad, maybe a tampon, maybe a scented liner, a feminine wipe, and that's it. No discussion about what's in it, no mention of what to avoid, just stay clean and a hope and a prayer that you don't bleed through. But what they're not telling us is that conventional period products are actually made with bleached synthetic fibers, chlorine byproducts like dioxins, fragrance chemicals, which can house thousands of undisclosed ingredients, petroleum-based plastics, and absorbent gels and adhesive that are not listed on the label. These ingredients sit against our skin or inside of our body for hours at a time on one of the most absorbent, sensitive parts of your body. And if you take one of those chemicals like dioxins, for example, which are known hormone disruptors, some are even classified as probable carcinogen. And while the industry likes to say that the amount of the toxic ingredient in these products is too low to matter, they're not taking into account how often we use the product or how early we're starting. A girl who gets her period at age 9 and uses scented pads, liners, tampons every single day for a week each month for what, like 20 years, 30 years, that's not low exposure. That's chronic exposure. Add in the bubble baths and the lotions and the petroleum-based hair grease, and this girl's hormone system never gets a break. So let's just pause and let's recap all the products I just talked about that a girl is exposed to before they're 10? Daily use of fragrance, lotion, and scented sprays, petroleum-based hair products, bubble baths with SLS and fragrance, period products with chlorine, dioxins, and phthalates. I didn't even get into cleaning sprays that are commonly used in the home or plastic packaging that we warm up our food in. And again, this isn't anyone's fault. I'm not sitting up here blaming our moms or anything like that. These were just the products that were made available, that were pushed to us. They were affordable, they're easy to find, labeled gentle and for sensitive skin. And hey, they work. But the truth is that we were sold harm in the form of self-care. And by the time we were reaching middle school, the effects were already in our periods, in our hormones, in our cycles, and in our confidence, in our skin. The timeline wasn't just beginning, it was well under, and we're only just getting started. So now let's talk about our adulthood. When we finally get to adulthood, the exposures don't slow down, they scale up. And what no one wants to tell you is that we spend more on hair care and beauty than any other demographic. And the industry, well, they know this. So what do? They market to us, often the hardest. And they're marketing us products that are some of the most toxic products on the market. Wigs and weaves sprayed with flame retardants, edge controls with synthetic fragrance and parabens, leave-ins, oils, detangling sprays. All of these have endocrine disrupting chemicals. Even the labels that say natural or for like curls, can hide ingredients that disrupt our hormones. And we're a victim to it because we want to maintain a certain look, which, by the way, and I won't go on this soapbox because once again, I have already posted a video all about the synthetic hair and why we shouldn't wear it. But we oftentimes sacrifice our beauty for our health. We do it all the time to live up to beauty standards that are not even our beauty standards. They're the beauty standards that someone else set for us. But it's harming our health. And we need to make sure that we're not sacrificing our health for a look because it's not right. And honestly, there are healthier and natural ways for us to get the look that we want without using products that has this stuff in it. But anyway, I digress. Let's move on. So now as we move into our own homes as adults, start buying more of our own cleaning supplies as well. And we often buy what's familiar. Bleach, multi-surface sprays, dryer sheets, and detergents with like really, really strong fragrances. Those are the products we grew up on. So we just naturally go and buy the same products that we used as a kid. But those products have toxic ingredients, and those ingredients are linked to health issues. Not to mention, we're also feeding ourselves now. We're going to go get takeout all the time. We're eating canned goods, microwaving plastic, and all of this is exposing us to BPAs, PFAs, and phthalates. And this stuff is not without its own set of consequences, y'all. Black women are twice as likely to experience infertility than any other race, and we're far more likely to suffer from fibroid, endometriosis, and hormonal imbalance. Toxins like parabens and phthalates are endocrine disruptors. They mess with our hormones, our weight, our fertility, and menstrual cycles. So now we're not just absorbing these toxins, we're starting to see the damage show up in our bodies by the time we reach adulthood. And I know because I'm starting to see some of these consequences catch up with me now that I'm getting a little bit older. It's not something to just be laissez-faire about. This is serious. It's your health, it's your life. Motherhood changes how you see everything. You look at your body differently, you look at your choices differently, but more than ever, you start to look at the world differently. You start asking the questions of like, is this safe for my baby? And that one question, at least for me, it opened the floodgate. And suddenly you realize like you've been using this stuff for decades. And the sad part is that pregnancy like brings on a whole new level of exposure because now you even have the baby products that you're being exposed to. Remember, these toxins cross the placenta. They're stored in our breast milk, and our babies are being born already exposed. Not only the toxins that we're exposing our babies to, but the toxins that our mothers exposed us to. Breast milk, for example, is incredible, but it reflects a mother's body burden. Studies have found pesticides, heavy metals, parabens, PCBs, and phthalates all in breast milk. We were never warned, and we were never told how to protect ourselves. But here's what matters. You're not too late. Every small swap, every ingredient you question, every harmful product you stop using, it matters. Not because you'll get it all perfect, but because you're doing something different than what was done to you. So what now? What do we even do with all of this? First, take a breath. You didn't cause this. You were born into it. But now you're waking up, and that's powerful. I always try to tell people, like, don't try to like change everything at once. Start small and start where you are. If I can give no other advice in this journey, is to do 3 things. The first one being just swap one product. Choose the thing that you use like every day and get a cleaner version of it. 2, start reading your labels. You won't catch everything, but the more you know, the better you'll do. And number 3, get support. Share this with someone, a friend, a sister, your group chat. Healing is easier when you're not doing it alone. Because here's the truth. Cleaner swaps don't just protect your home. They send a message to the brands and to the industry. A message that says, we see what you've been selling us. We know better now and we expect better. If you're being called to go deeper, especially when it comes to your hormones and reproductive health, I created something just for you. It's called the 7-Day Womb Reset. It's a gentle, beginner-friendly guide designed to help you start detoxing from hormone disruptors and support your cycle naturally. Whether you're dealing with painful periods, hormonal weight gain, fibroids, infertility, or you just want to feel more connected to your body, this guide is a beautiful place to begin. You can find that on kenaneaton.com, and I'll also link it in the description. Bonus, when you grab the Womb Reset, I'll also send you the Hidden Hormone Disruptor Decoder, which is a 1-page scan tool that helps you to better be able to read ingredients to audit your home for the top toxins to look out for. It's included completely free as a thank you to you. And if you're not ready ready to dive in just yet, that's okay too. You can still grab my free guide called 10 Simple Swaps for a Non-Toxic Home. I'll link that product as well in the description. You don't have to do this perfectly. You just have to start because you've already inherited enough. Now you get to choose what you want to pass on. All right, that's it for me. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Every time one of you subscribe, it helps my channel grow and I can continue making great content like this for you to help you on your non-toxic journey. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.